What's up, guys? It's Kevin from Mathers on the Map, and today is the next van build episode covering two things. One, the electrical wiring, and two, our rubber garage mat. Alright, so I want to cover all of my wiring that I just did throughout the van. I do have three more things I need to wire, which are the refrigerator, the Espar diesel heater, as well as the isolator, which will take the energy from the car battery and charge the house batteries when the car battery is full. So we're going to have three sources of energy: one, the solar, the car battery, and then shore power if we need it. So I'll start with 12 volt and then I'll move into 110, and I'm just going to read off everything right here, and then I will cover and walk you through where everything is ran and what wires are where. So for 12 volt we have 6 puck lights, which are going to run straight down the ceiling of the van, and I labeled them. We'll have 5 in a row, and then we'll have 1 in the shower. So we have light when we're showering or going to the bathroom, whatever. From there, we'll have 2 switches for the puck lights. Actually, 3 switches. So one switch will be right next to the bathroom, so right outside the bathroom door. And then we'll have one for the 2 puck lights in the back over the bed, which is going to be on the back side of the kitchen cabinet, closer to the bed, so we could just flick it on and off while we're laying in bed if we need to. And then we're going to have one closer to the front of the kitchen cabinet. Maybe when you open the sliding door, you'll just be able to flip on the lights really quick. After lights, we'll have 2 USB ports in the back near our bedding. So we ran 2 wires along the outside wall of the doors here, and we'll have one on the driver's side and one on the passenger side, so both Taylor and I can charge our phones at night or whatever we need to. If we have like a 12 volt USB fan or a 12 volt USB light, you know, that'll work good. From there, I'm going over to our 3-gang switch panel, which is going to be on the left side cabinet after the water compartment, so the cabinet before the shower. We're going to have a 3-gang switch panel. I don't have it yet, but I ran all the wires for it, which will also have another USB outlet that we could plug into charge devices if we need. So within the switch gang panel, we'll have the switch for our water pump, our kitchen gray water tank ball valve, which will be underneath the vehicle on the outside. So we're going to drill a hole through the bottom of the floor, through the vehicle's chassis or through the frame, and then into the water tank, which we'll be able to drain with a flick of a switch with the electric ball valve. And then we have another one for the shower drain. So from the shower drain, we'll have a gray water tank underneath the vehicle on the driver's side, and that'll be hooked up to an electric ball valve as well, so we can just flip the switch in case it is, you know, we don't have to go outside underneath the van and open a ball valve. It's going to be a lot easier, and that's especially useful if it's pouring out and you need to drain your gray water tanks. When we were in Portugal and we rented a van, we had to fill our water supply and drain our tanks in the pouring rain. So at least we won't have to drain our tanks in the rain anymore. We'll still have to do it to fill up the freshwater tank. From there, then we got wiring done for our utilities. I don't know the proper name. Our appliances, I don't know. MaxxAir fan. So from there, we're gonna run it right into our fuse box. We have one for our Nature's Head toilet that's going to be ran into the shower, and one for our water meter as well. So it's going to go from the 12 volt fuse panel over the ceiling down into the water compartment here and hooked up to our water tank. Like I said earlier, we have 3 things that we still need to run wires for, which is the Espar heater, our refrigerator, and the isolator, the BIM isolator, that's going to allow our car battery to charge our house batteries. All right, so that covers 12 volt. Now we're moving over to the 110 volt side, which from an application standpoint, we really only have one, or an appliance standpoint, not application, which is our hot water heater here. We have a 20 amp, outlet that we plug into right here, and then we run the 12-2 Romex wire through the water compartment up the side, and then we'll hook it up to a 12 volt switch. It might be a timer switch, and then that's going to run over the ceiling and then into the 110 fuse box. And then besides that, we will have 110 outlets as well, and that will be used for our blender. I think we have a Ninja right now, which is pretty powerful. I'm not sure if we're gonna get a Vitamix, but we'll have enough power to support that with our inverter. And we're also gonna have a 20 amp outlet on the driver's side over this cabinet, and then a 20 amp outlet over the kitchen counter and kitchen cabinet. And that'll allow Taylor to use her hair dryer and stuff too, which is going to be awesome. And then we're going to have two 15 amp outlets in the bench area, which aren't wired yet, but it'll be in the bench, and then one into the wall. That way, if we're working with the table set up, we can plug in by our feet, and then if we have the bed set up, we won't be able to access the one built into the bench, so we'll have one in the wall that we could access as well. And then looking at my diagram here, that's it. I will share my diagram with you guys as well. It'll be uploaded to the blog post, which I'll put a link in the description below. And you can check that out at mathersonthemap.com. But other than that, let's take a closer look at the wiring. All right, so the first thing I want to do before I show you how I wired it or where I ran the wires is the actual 12 volt wire that we're using. So we're using this, let's see if we can see it here, marine wire. It's 16 gauge for pretty much everything other than our refrigerator. I haven't figured out which wire or which gauge we're going to use because I haven't bought the refrigerator yet. But the first thing that I want to show you guys is our puck lights and where we ran that to. So we're going to run our puck lights in parallel, I think. I'm not sure if I got that right, but we're not going to do it in series, meaning we're just going to run this light and connect it to this light and then connect it all the way through. We'll be running to one source of power from the switch. But like I said, so we have 5 lights running down the length of the van, and I labeled it A, B, C, D, E, and E is in the back. And then we have D, and then after our max air, we have C, B, and A here. So that's our 5 puck lights, and then our 6th puck light is here in the shower, which will go right here. That's going to be hooked up to a switch that will run right here. All right. For our puck light switches, for, like I said, the 3 front is going to be ran to an outlet right here in the kitchen cabinet that we could switch on and off, and then our 2 back puck lights are going to be ran to the back of our kitchen cabinet, which we don't have it yet obviously, but switch right around here somewhere, so when we're in bed we could do that. Next up is our 2 USB 12 volt USB outlets that will be running to the back. So, and this is where our 12 volt fuse panel is going to be, fuse box is going to be. So we're going to run our lines into this fuse box, but from there we're running it through the ceiling, through the back here, and then into the frame right here, and then we have another one going right here, right to there. So it might be difficult to see how everything's going to be ran, but here's where our 3-gang switch panel is going to be, and a 12 volt USB outlet. So we have the shower ball valve, we have the kitchen ball valve, and we have our water pump, which is going into our water compartment right there. That'll all be hooked up, and then also are USB as well. So that goes through this plastic gasket, I don't know what you would call it, I'm drawing a blank, and then through the frame connected to our water pump right there. And then we also, aside from the 3-gang switch panel, have our water meter hooked up, and that's going to run through this tubing all the way up around the ceiling into our 12-volt fuse box or fuse panel. And the last two things that we ran from a 12-volt perspective are our wire to the Max Air Fan. It's right here. We actually didn't run it yet, but I don't really need to because this is going to be pretty long. As well as the line to our Nature's Head toilet, which we're going to be storing in the shower. So another line that's going up through here, through the ceiling, and into there, which is going to be going straight down there. Our ball valve is the longest one here. And then our, not sure which one, here's the toilet line. And similar to the Max Air Fan, it has a pretty long cord attached to it. So I'm just going to be wiring it up to that 16 gauge wire that I have hanging here. So now I'm going to jump over to our 110 wiring, which is basically just 12.2 Romex at the moment. I do have 14.2 Romex that I have in the garage, but I haven't wired it yet because I want to get my battery bank in place before I put that in. So our 12.2 main one right here is the water heater hooked up to a 20 amp outlet, single outlet there, that I have going through our water compartment out the plastic tubing to protect it from the steel studs. And then I'll have a switch here to turn the water heater on. Again, it might be a timer switch because the water heater drains some of the battery, so you want to be careful. You don't want to leave that on too long. And then I have the 12.2 coming down for a 20 amp outlet. So that's just ran over the ceiling. And then this is going to come down into our 110 fuse box, which will be inside the electrical compartment over there. And then we'll also have, like I said, a 14.2 wire to a 15 amp outlet, and then which will be in the box here, and then one up here in the wall. Other than that, we'll also have a 20 amp outlet right here over the kitchen, so we could use a blender or a hair dryer or something like that for Taylor. All right, so that wraps up our wiring. Now let's jump over to the garage floor and show you how I did that. So we got this rubber mat from Home Depot for our garage. Anti-fatigue garage mat. We're just gonna have this in the garage. And we're gonna place it over the floor here. Alright, so I use this Gorilla spray adhesive to spray it onto the bottom of the rubber mat, and I cut it around the edge, and this is going to go underneath the 1/2 inch plywood, so it should be covered so it'll look like a clean cut. And then after I use the spray adhesive, I just got a lot of weights and pushed it down really hard so it's nice and firm, and just got to continue to cover all the air gaps there. Looks pretty good. I am finishing the garage floor, which is just this rubber flooring you see right here. It's about 1/4 of an inch thick. You could probably get something a little thinner on Amazon. I'll link to the description below of the one that I was gonna buy, but we got this from Home Depot and we decided to go with it. So right now I'm just finishing this piece off. I got a pencil and I'm just using a template that I cut out to get this smooth edge here, and going to place this down. And we used Gorilla spray adhesive to get it stuck down and put weights all over the place here to flatten it out. I did it on a super cold day, which probably wasn't the best, but it's pretty secure and stuck down to the floor, which is great. So once I cut this out and put it right there, I'll be all set. Alright, so here's a fresh look at the garage floor with the rubber flooring. So you could see that I was moving plywood and scratched it already. It's not even in the van yet and already scratched it up. And then I added this part right here, and I had just have weights down to keep the rubber stuck down to the adhesive and hopefully get a good seal from that. For the seal here, or for the seam, unfortunately I didn't have something wide enough to cover the whole thing, so I do have this line. We might put some trim over it or something like that. Alright guys, so that wraps up this van build episode on wiring the van and the garage floor, rubber flooring, whatever you want to call it. If you have any questions about this van build episode, then drop a comment below. If you like this video or found it helpful, give it a like. If you want to check out more van build episodes and follow along our journey of our van build, then subscribe to our channel, and we'll be posting pretty much everything we do for the van. Thanks so much for watching, and a happy new year. I don't know why I did that.